Good lord, it's a feeding frenzy, and Joker is the prey. It's rare to see most of the internet in agreement, but this film did it. Not an easy feat. Hey, I give it to it. How the hell did the same team that brought us Joker 2019 fumble a story this badly? They got the bag though. They stuffed their pockets, shot out like a bat out of hell, and left the fans with this pile of shit. Now, the first Joker was also controversial for very different reasons. The reaction to the first Joker still gets under my skin. The outrage was ridiculous, and the buzzwords thrown at it like incel fantasy, which is the most pathetic interpretation of the film and doesn't really hold water, because it's less about a disturbed individual becoming radicalized and centers more around class struggle, the world's indifference to those struggling with mental illness, and how cruelty can feed resentment, all through the lens of a comic book character. There was this push, though, almost this hope that real-life violence would come of it, just so the media could say they were right. Oh, God, the despicable cockstains. The controversy fueled audiences to see what all the fuss was about, pushing this R-rated origin story to rake in over $1 billion. Everyone was happy with this standalone success. But where there's a profit, there's a way. The roots of Joker 2's concept came from a dream Joaquin Phoenix had. Phillips knew it was risky, but thought it would give the fans something different and separate it from the endless horde of sequels and reboots. Phoenix is also the reason Harley Quinn was brought into this film. And man, when the rumors of the sequel being a musical dropped, man, the fans reacted with perplexion and anxiety. Worry and apprehension was in the air, baby. Joker Filet had its world premiere at the Venice Film Festival on September 4th, 2024, and the reception was mixed, to say the least. Fans were less concerned about that because of the reception of the first film, and more concerned with the truth about the number of musical numbers that are in the film. I'm sure the studio expected the hype to reach fever pitch, all the way up into the wide release on October 4th. This thing is going to save the studio from all the losses, from sending all their damn films straight to Max. This is the one. It's going to do it. Time to pop bottles, bring in the hose. Oh shit. It started going tits up as soon as people saw it. Reception was already in the shitter, but it just kept building and building. This thing got trifecta fucked by the critics, fans, and general audience. It received a D cinema score, which is the worst ever for a comic book film, so another feat. A lot of people just decided to skip this movie after the bad word of mouth, and honestly, I was one of them. I finally sat down and watched it a couple nights ago. I heard some of the spoilers going in, so I generally knew what to expect. This thing gets going, and it's not bad at first. Arthur is quiet, the score is still excellent. The rich cinematography brings you right back into this world. His lawyers press him into an insanity defense, that he has this split personality.
Let's let me get this straight.
So
your defense is it was the Joker who did it.
And I'm with the movie so far, but you can feel the change in the air. It feels like it's building towards Joker lashing out, but oh no, that's when he meets her.
Sing hallelujah, come on, get happy.
Then skepticism lays its meat on the table and forces you to look at it. All my worries and concerns become reality inch by bloody inch. Arthur and Harley exchange tedious dialogue, almost like they're exchanging resumes. Then he starts singing and singing. The whirlwind romance with Harley takes off, and it happens so damn quickly. The worst part about it is most of the time they don't even commit to the musical. Only a couple scenes are actually integral to the plot. I mean, good lord, I was so done with the singing. Like, halfway through the movie, I was done with it. Every time either character started singing, I was just thinking of ways to off myself. Or at least get myself off. Anything would be better than this. And oh, it gets worse as it goes too. Every time they break out in painful melody, it brings the movie to a grinding halt. But that's not the worst part. The worst sin of this movie, the one thing the fans cannot forgive, is the direction they take the titular character. They take the dumbest route a sequel can take by ignoring Arthur's character arc in the first film. They completely change where they left the character off. In Joker 2, he resorts back to the miserable, pathetic Arthur that we met at the beginning of the first film. They recontextualize the character and make his development just an act. And this film centers around this question: who is Arthur really? Is he Joker or just that mentally ill loner? And the film might be called Joker, but Harley is the real player in this movie. She does everything to drive the plot. Harley has complete control over Joker. And what I just said right there is antithetical to the spirit of these characters. Thing is, I don't even think Todd Phillips even understands the movie he made. That guy at the end of Joker is not the same as this character. He killed his own mom. He killed the psychiatrist at the end for nothing. You think that guy would let all of these people just walk all over him? Harley lies to him about who she is and dismisses him after he tells the world Joker is nothing but a facade. The guy from the first film would have offed her ass. They make such a big deal about Gary telling Arthur how scared he was, and it hits Arthur in his soul. You mean the guy that scared him just to fuck with him in the first film? This is what gets on my nerves. He found acceptance by committing murder, and he's loved for it. He would associate love, strength, and power with violence. Who the fuck is this guy in Joker 2? It's not the Arthur Fleck at the end of the first film. This movie is equivalent to paying money to be spit on. I mean, the directions they could have went with this story were endless. No, I know this version of Joker isn't going to become the criminal mastermind like Ledger's Joker. In my opinion, they should have went the route of the Manson family in this sequel. They could have still went after the rich and or politicians that Arthur and everyone blames for their misfortune. You could have really explored some dark socio-political themes with this story. Hell, you could have still had Arthur trying to live up to that Joker name as a cult-like figure, but in the context of him having to do more and more heinous shit to live up to it, and explore his struggle with that. So many movies these days are afraid to let villains be villains. This film is so trite and safe for most of its runtime. I guess up until the point of the whole drop in the soap scene, and of course it's committed on Arthur as another slap in the face of the fans. Todd Phillips' disdain for comic book movies is put on full display. He doesn't want to make him, so he uses one of the greatest villains of all time as a jumping off point to tell a story that has nothing to do with the character or its history. Christopher Nolan didn't know much about Batman, but he brought in people that did. He respected the character and made films that transcended the genre. We all praise Todd Phillips for telling a gritty adult drama through the lens of a comic book villain, but Todd Phillips was telling more of a story about a mentally ill man reaching his breaking point that just happened to use the Joker moniker. That's made painfully obvious in the third act, with Arthur being stabbed by a disturbed prisoner, who then cuts a Glasgow smile into his face like Heath Ledger's Joker. It was hilarious. This is the joke, and unfortunately it's on the audience. Now, this version of Harley Quinn, first off, they turn her into an upper-class girl that is bored with life. Why the hell can't she just become an oppressed activist like the rest of the rich girls? I don't know. They knew nothing with this new direction, though. She is symbolically a stand-in for the audience, because she also wants Arthur to embrace that Joker persona.
You perfect.
I want to see the real you.
Which is an interesting concept, and once he accepts that he's just Arthur, she rejects him, like the fans are doing with this movie. The problem, again, is they do nothing with this idea. Todd Phillips says this film plays with the themes around entertainment itself.
The idea being, if everything is entertainment, what is actually entertainment that we know?
You can't just throw out a half-baked idea and move on like it has some deep thematic resonance. There is no vision or bigger picture. It's the living embodiment of throwing shit at the wall. And worst of all, even if this was some standalone movie, it still sucks. They really thought they were challenging the audience and creating something special. They were going to subvert everyone's expectations. Hollywood learns anything from this debacle, it should be that subverting expectations only works if you give the audience something better, something they didn't even know they wanted. And I do worry how the industry will take this failure, and it will affect how much control directors have over studio IPs. The thing is, I like people taking risks and trying new things. This one didn't work out, but look what happened with the Dark Knight trilogy. Those feel like Nolan movies. Multiverse of Madness is directed by Sam Raimi, but it doesn't feel like a Raimi movie. He was just a hired hand brought in to direct traffic, pretty much. Spider-Man, though, feels like a Raimi movie, and it's better for it. Matt Reeves' The Batman is a more modern example. Hollywood is so reactionary, and I worry about the ripple effect this will have on future projects. Less risk, but also less reward because of the lack of authority to push the genre. And now, I've seen some people that liked the direction they took Arthur in this movie. I've seen a good number of those people blaming the fans' expectations for them not liking it. The fans just hate it because they didn't get their way. Oh, they just didn't understand it. They just wanted to see the Crown Prince of Crime. I mean, it is called Joker, and first off, I hate when people tell me what the hell I was expecting. I was expecting a good movie for one. How about that? I expected a sequel to build off what the first film accomplished. Instead, they just try to change the direction and characterization in some vain attempt to retcon the overall narrative. This movie fails on its own regardless of those stupid decisions they made. It fails as a musical, it fails as a courtroom drama, it fails as a romance, and worst of all, it fails as a Joker sequel. So what's the overall verdict? This movie sucks ass and deserves the backlash. And if I'm going to tell a joke, I mean, the worst joke is on the audience, but what do you get when you cross a desperate studio with a filmmaker who changes a character into something he was never meant to be? I'll tell you what you get. You get an 81% drop in week 2. And hey, you get what you fucking deserve. I said my piece. Thanks for watching.